Tonight on the South Today, pressure from academic professionals has put the Minister of Education into defence mode. Quick work by FEN staff in Ashburton helped stop a house fire from spreading to neighbouring properties. And a group of young brewers and their teachers have won awards in 4 out of 6 categories they entered in a prestigious competition. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. Former Otago Polytech CEO Phil Kerr has described the state of the country's Polytech education system as a national disgrace. His comments come as the government merges the country's Polytechs into a single entity. And his stinging attack's been followed up in Parliament by Invercargill National MP Penny Simmonds, formerly head of SIT, which left Minister Chris Hipkins in defence mode.
Education Minister Chris Hipkins is under fire from several fronts about Te Pukenga, the government's major reform of the country's Polytech sector. More than $500 million has already been spent to merge the various institutions into one single organisation.
Phil Kerr's comments, quote, simply an ego trip on the minister's part, end of quote, or Merrin Davis's comment, quote, everyone is in Disneyland.
National's Invercargill MP Penny Simmonds raised concerns about the mega merger in 2019 while she was CEO of the Southern Institute of Technology. In Parliament on Thursday, Chris Hipkins said he respects former Otago Polytech CEO Phil Kerr, but may have misled the House by claiming Kerr was against the merger from the start.
Mr Speaker, I respect Phil Kerr and I do recognise his considerable contribution to vocational education in New Zealand, and I respectfully disagree with him. I note that he was not a fan of the vocational education reforms from the beginning.
The general direction of the reforms we think is a positive move for New Zealand, for tertiary education in New Zealand.
Kerr ignited the Polytech merger issue this week when he labelled Te Pukenga a national disgrace, a statement he stands by, laying the blame at the minister's feet.
Polytechnics are seriously underfunded. Well, he's had 5 years to do something about that. He's had 3 since he announced the reforms. He's had 2 since Te Pukenga was set up, and not a single solitary thing has been done.
A report by the Tertiary Education Commission warns a drop in enrolments will mean Te Pukenga's latest annual deficit could surge past $110 million, $53 million more than budgeted. Minister Hipkins says a change was necessary due to spiralling debt across many of the country's polytechs. But Penny Simmonds wants the reforms to be paused. Across the South Today.
2 climbers rescued from the Remarkables mountain range were found in good spirits despite getting caught in an avalanche and spending the night in an ice cave. The rescue team tried twice on Tuesday to reach the men but couldn't because of high winds and blowing snow affecting visibility. The climbers in their early 20s were experienced and well equipped with gear and food. A rescue helicopter was finally able to reach the pier just before midday on Wednesday after dropping in a crew around a kilometre from the climbers. Whakatipu Alpine Cliff Rescue says the 2 men made the right decision in pulling back rather than carrying on in the blizzard conditions. A quick response by fire crews in Ashburton has stopped 2 flats from being completely destroyed by flames. Firefighters managed to prevent the blaze from spreading from the lounge into the apartment's bedrooms, although the rooms and adjoining flat were badly smoke damaged.
This brick flat on Ashburton's Hugh Street was engulfed in flames on Tuesday afternoon, with nearby residents dialling 111 just before 3 p.m. It took fire and emergency just 5 minutes to respond, with 3 crews quickly dousing the flames.
So they've done a really good job knocking it down pretty quickly and getting it under control.
FENZ believes no people or animals were inside the flat at the time and says the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
The fire unfortunately has started in the front area of the house, and we're looking sort of more of the kitchen and living room area. The bedroom area and that sort of thing is very, very badly smoke damaged but still intact.
An adjoining flat was separated with a firewall and not damaged by the flames, although it was likely to be badly smoke damaged. In Ashburton, the South Today.
Two boats were swept from their moorings at Karatane, north of Dunedin, earlier this week during the widespread flooding that caused disruption across the south. After 60 years at sea, luck has run out for the fishing boat Tiki, which ended up on a nearby Wakawaiti beach. The boat's been owned by retired fisherman Roger Bartlett for 50 years, who says it's now beyond salvaging. A catamaran called First Light was also swept away. Owner Alvin Frew says the three moorings ropes had snapped like a bit of cotton in the blustery weather. Despite a mammoth effort with a digger yesterday, the yacht remained stuck fast, with possibly as much as 5 tonnes of sand weighing down the hull. Frew plans to continue on with his salvage attempt. Tutors and students at the Otago Brew School are fizzing after some good taste at the New Zealand Brewers Guild Awards. The Otago Polytech students entered 6 of their beers in this year's awards, performing well against professional competition.
Checking this brew for more signs of sweet success. Otago Polytech brewing students have taken home 4 awards across 6 categories entered at the recent New Zealand Brewers Guild Awards.
We see it as, I guess, recognition by our peers in the industry and adds a wee bit of credibility to the course and the brews that we're producing.
Otago Polytech Brewing School tutor Jeff Colley says the students are involved as understudies to the brewing staff in making these commercial beers. The Cromwell-based brew school won a silver and 3 bronze medals at the competition. Their Klassenbester Dunkelweissen won a silver medal. Their Dark Matter Oatmeal Stout, Brauschow Kolsch and Hidden Number Pale Ale all claimed bronze medals. Colley says the students were pleasantly surprised when they returned from holidays at the start of the week.
So I announced that we'd picked up 4 awards and that clearly everything that we toiling them wasn't rubbish.
During the course, students also have the opportunity to brew on a smaller scale and to develop their own recipes, a few of which have been produced on a commercial scale. One of last year's students developed a Czech dark lager, which was brewed on a semi-commercial scale and sold locally. In Cromwell, the South Today.
Whaiakane, still to come on the South Today. A warning to stay away from a decaying whale carcass near Dunedin. And contractors on the new Beaumont Bridge celebrate the arrival of some giant steel beams.
It's a midwinter Boxing Day sale. My mate John's lost the plot. It's July and he's put his Christmas tree up and he's taken 30% off absolutely everything. Plus you can pay it off interest-free. Midwinter Boxing Day sale. 30% off the lot. On now at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street, and online at mymatejohn.co.nz.
Where did you get that furniture from? Stafford Street and My Mate John.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Evening, I'm from the Parks Department. Have you got a permit for that fire?
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Nā koe, welcome back. People are being warned to stay away from the decaying carcass of a whale near Dunedin due to possible risks from bacteria and sharks. The almost 10-metre long juvenile humpback was first seen floating off the coast of Warrington a fortnight ago before being washed up at Omemi. Dock Ranger Jim Fife says the whale poses health risks as the mammals can carry bacteria and diseases which could be passed on to people. Swimmers and surfers should also be aware the decomposing whale could spark an increase of sharks in the wider Warrington area. The site was difficult to access by land and water, and it wasn't practical to remove or bury the carcass. A key milestone has been reached in the construction of the new curved steel girder Beaumont Bridge along State Highway 8 in the Clutha district.
Large pieces of very heavy metal have started arriving at the site of the new bridge, which will replace the existing 137-year-old single-lane structure. The first 2 of 20 steel bridge beams travelled through the district this week. The main beams are being manufactured in the North Island and freighted down to the Beaumont site in pairs over the next 9 weeks. Waka Kotahi, the New Zealand Transport Agency, says work continued this week despite persistent heavy rain falling across Otago. A temporary trestle will be completed over the Clutha River next week, which will be used to build the new bridge. The beams will be stored on site until they're positioned on the new bridge structure from late September. In Beaumont, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Strong questions over the government's Polytech reform Te Pukenga have put Education Minister Chris Hipkins on the defence. Quick work by fire and emergency crews in Ashburton helped prevent a blazing house from spreading to neighbouring homes. And some young Cromwell brewers and their tutors are fizzing after beating professionals at the New Zealand Brewers Guild Awards. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's OTT, and we welcome the Deputy Editor, Craig Page. Kia ora, Craig.
Good evening.
Now what can we expect in the paper tomorrow?
In tomorrow's paper, the Dunedin City Councillors are praising the efforts of DCC staff in responding to this week's flooding issues. But they're saying that it could be hard to replicate if the government's Three Waters plans come into effect.
Right.
Aaron Hawkins is saying at the moment the guidelines around civil defence are sort of up in the air over who's going to be running it and where it will be run from, and there's a concern that if it's not based out of Dunedin, then it could make these sorts of situations more difficult.
Okay.
So, yeah, interesting issues there. Also a concern about a possible shortage of GPs looming in New Zealand as well. A recent workplace survey indicated that about half of the current GPs are looking to retire over the next 10 years.
Oh, wow, that'll take out a lot.
Yeah, well, a lot of the medical students these days are looking to go in more specialist areas rather than GPs. So, yeah, issues there as well. Sporting front, Commonwealth Games finally underway in Birmingham with the opening ceremony this morning. Hayden Wild's up this evening on the triathlon, so he could be our first genuine medal chance.
Brilliant.
So lots of coverage in that in tomorrow's paper. Also the weekend mix as well, so plenty of reading there.
Stunning. Oh, thank you for sharing tonight, Craig. We look forward to reading it. And time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, a cold weekend ahead with showers about the coast, but mostly fine weather inland. Next week, expect milder northwesterly airflows. Heading to the top of the South Island, northerlies and heavy rain for Nelson with a high of 13 tomorrow. Greymouth gets a high of 11 with late rain and northeasterlies, while Christchurch can expect a cloudy day with easterlies and a high of 9 degrees. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago, overcast and windy through here tomorrow. Ashburton will get light easterlies and a high of 8. Timaru heads for 10, while Oamaru can expect westerlies and a high of 11 degrees. Westwards now to the Central Lakes. It'll be a cloudy start to the weekend with light winds. Wanaka gets to 8, 7 for Queenstown with a slight breeze, and Alexandra can expect a high of 10 degrees. Heading further south, the showers linger again tomorrow with fresh southwesterlies. Balclutha, Gore and the Catlins are all heading for a high of 8 degrees tomorrow. And down through the deep south, fine tonight in Invercargill with clouds and westerlies and a low of 7. Tomorrow looks dry to start before showers and southwesterlies, and hail is also on the cards with the showers clearing late in the day. Expect a low of 6 and a high of 8. Sunday will be cloudy with a few light showers and gusty winds, a low of 5 and up to 8 degrees again. And lastly, heading to Dunedin. Southwest winds should ease tonight, dropping down to just 2 degrees. Saturday looks fine and sunny with scattered cloud and westerlies before a cold showery night, a low of 5 and a high of 10. Wrapping up the weekend, the showers should clear on Sunday with strong cold southwest winds easing slowly too, down to a chilly 0 as the low with a high of 9 degrees. And that's the news this Friday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. But coming up after the break is this week's edition of Global Insight, where Professor Robert Patman says New Zealand is hoping Ukraine doesn't accept any land for peace deals in order to end Russia's invasion of the country. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.